Hey guys, what's up? It's Finch here, and we're back with another game for the World Cup of Pokemon. Before we get into this, I just want to say thank you so much for all the support on the first two games I recorded. If you guys haven't caught those, I was playing in a World Cup of Pokemon group consisting of 3 opponents, meaning that there are 3 games for World Cup Pokemon's first round. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's one of the biggest and best SSU team tournaments on Smogon. Some of the finest players are playing each other, and I happen to get a group filled with 3 very experienced, very talented, very successful players. The first one of which was a game against my good friend Gary Oak on Team Spain. My second of which was against my good friend Pace on Team US Midwest. And my third and final game here is against Alodan. If you haven't caught those first 2 games, I strongly advise you guys check those games out. There's a lot of fun stuff to see, a lot of action, and 2 super intense games leading up to this point. Not going to spoil which I won and which I lost for those of you that haven't quite seen that, so go ahead and rewind, check those out now. But I'm 1-1 going into this game, and I really want to go ahead and pull away from this group with a positive record. Considering how strong the group was and how strong my opponents were going into this, I knew that 2-1 would be a good thing. Obviously, you'd prefer 3-0, but can't always win them all, especially when the games are close, so that's fine. Anyway, let's talk about this game specifically. So Loden and I actually have some history. We played in the World Cup a couple years back, and I definitely wasn't the most well-behaved in that experience. I just want to say, never be rude to your opponents, even if there's suspicions of ghosting or tomfoolery or whatever. Just mind your business and play your game. Definitely something that I still to this day need to learn more as a player, but thankfully in this battle, much more calm and composed. So it's always good to keep your head straight up and just focus on what you in your control and nothing else. That aside, though, Love's actually became a good friend of mine. We've teamed up a couple times in unofficial tournaments, and it's also been really great seeing him play both OU, NU, Black, White, all successfully. He's just a really great player all in all. He makes some great risks. I think he's good at, kind of maintaining momentum and keeping up pressure, something that has been his forte in Black, White, OU especially, as he went positive in the regular season of SPL. Thankfully, I did beat him twice in SPL, although one of the games didn't matter. The series was already over, but it's always good to come up some positive momentum against someone like that. I feel like you kind of have his number, so that was always nice, but I knew I'd have my hands all coming into this game. I do want to give a little bit of a warning. This is going to be a longer battle than the last 2. I'm going to try and go a little bit less focus on each turn and more general strategy, but the amount of turns, will go north of, your normal 50, 70 turn game, whatever it may be. And if you look at it, it's funny because my team is more bulky offense than it is stall. It probably leans towards balance, to be honest, but you got a Dragonpite and Adamant, Buzzwole, you got Landorus T, you got Future Sight plus Top War, but Clefable makes it more balanced than anything, and his team's also balanced as well. Again, he's got Zero Aura, he's got what is likely an offensive Clefable on this team with Rocks, Strand, Rocks, Landorus T. But much like me, while his Clefable may be offensive, he's got a defensive kind of back foot Pokemon like Toxapex, and that just kind of makes it so that the game draws out a little longer. It's funny because it didn't actually take forever. The turns went by pretty quickly, but a lot of turns, so something just to note of there. What else? I definitely kind of want to change it a little bit. I used hyper offensive teams in my first 2 games, so use something more balanced and more consistent. Felt like to play against Alodan, who is more familiar with other generations. I didn't want to kind of reinvent the wheel here. I felt like using something more reliable, giving me a chance in any matchup would be best. So this was ultimately what I came up with. The main premise being that they used a lot of dark types in the prior games. Brazil used a ton of Bisharp, a ton of Weavile, so I thought Buzzwole with Future Sight would be a great pick. And in this game, it didn't do too great, all honesty, but it did what it needed to do, I really like Wish Clefable as well, pairing with things like Leftovers, Landorus T, and Heatran, making them sort of have more longevity. And also, the combination of Heatran and Special Defensive Clefable kind of checks opposing Dragapult, so you don't really need a hardcore Ghost Resist. And I was trying to avoid things like Mandibuzz, which I don't find too desirable in the metagame right now, so yeah. That worked out nicely. And also, really wanted to try out Thunderwave Dragapult, because I noticed he had a lot of Heatran, a lot of Clefable. Getting timely process in them could come in handy there as well. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into the game. No point in blabbering on and on and on. We're already at the 4-minute mark. So let's go ahead and hit that play button. So he's going to be using a more balanced team of his own. Zero Aura, Landorus T, Heatran, Clefable, Corviknight, Toxapex. Definitely looking like it's going to be Rocks on the Tran or the Landorus. And I really thought Combine plus Thunder, Clefable, came as obvious because nothing else in this team really loved Toxapex. I mean, yeah, Heatran can switch in, Zero Aura can 1v1, but they don't love switching into Knock or Scald themselves. So yeah, I kind of thought that the Clefable set at worst was Trick, Scarf. At best was Combine Thunderbolt. So that meant my own Heatran and survivability was vital in this game, as I was a heavy Slime Heatran. Anyway, we're going to see something interesting here. I'm going to go ahead and knock in turn 1 as he knocks as well. That also reveals that he's a defensive Landorus T. He clicks Rocks here, and I click Moonblast, get chip on it, which is huge. Any chip on this is great. He clicks Earthquake there. I predicted him to U-turn, and I click Knock again. Really greedy play on my end. I go out to Buzzwole, and Think Matters worse. He gets a free knockoff there, so I lose my boots for nothing. So, because I made a greedy play, I now have a weakened Clefable and a crippled Buzzwole. And to make matters even worse, my Ice Punch here trying to catch Slender's T is punished by Rocky Helmet. So suddenly my Buzzwole is barely even able to check Zero Aura now, making it so that he's in a better position. And to make matters even worse, he claims momentum once more with that Landorus T there, getting in off a U-turn against my Heatran, and I'm forced to go right back to Buzzwole here. Not great at all. He also U-turns, so again, I am in the loop right now. Olodin is taking advantage of my passivity. Thankfully here, he is going to go back to Landorus T, but at this point, I'm like, okay, damn. I'm going to go to my own Landorus T here because I think he's probably going to try and go for Earthquake or U-turn. And he actually goes for knockoff, predicting that. So he's just been all over me, getting every turn right. I go Swords Dance here, thinking that he's probably going to end up going for a U-turn, but probably being slower than me because I'm pretty slow. But it turns out that I was actually quicker than he was, which I guess makes some sense. I am invested for some things. I wasn't really sure how defensive he was, so I only got knockoff damage. I knew he had HP investment, but yeah. With that said, though, I guess my main idea was, like, on his team, he's pretty weak to Bisharp, so I thought he'd be outrunning that. And from there, you never know, but in hindsight, I do have some speed investment, some Swords in. So honestly, my best play there was to just click Stone Edge and force even more chip onto it, because I was adamant Stone Edge, so again, I don't think I'm playing the best at the start of the game, the first 10 turns. Thankfully, he doesn't have a Dragapult. He doesn't have like a Lele or a Weavile. He can't revenge kill me with the Zero Aura. So he's actually forced to go Corviknight here, which is pretty cool for me, as Stone Edge is easily going to KO it. So that's amazing. I get the 55% off there, but he reveals to be Brave Bird over Body Press, which I was really surprised about. Because again, the Bisharp matchup wasn't super great on his end. He didn't have a Dark Resist besides Clefable, so a little surprise there. Unfortunately, the Brave Bird puts me in range of Zero Aura. So I make an aggressive play here. I go Buzzwole in the knock. Then I know very well I live even a max damage Volt Switch here. And I know he's physical, given the knock damage. So I can go ahead and roost that up. And he just switches there, which is weird because if you're not Volt Switch, then you're almost definitely going to be bulk up. And if you bulk up on the roost and then you bulk up again, you'll always win the 1v1 unless it's a toxic Buzzwole. And that set doesn't really exist. So if he was bulk up there, he just won the game. Bulk up on the roost, bulk up again as I click Close Combat, Leech Life, whatever it is. If that doesn't crit, you easily live 2 of them. And then all of a sudden, plus 2 kills Heatran, plus 2 kills Slowking, plus 2 kills Weakened Clefable, kills Landorus T, and obviously kills Dragapult. So I think Olodin there, revealing that he wasn't Volt Switch and not clicking bulk up was a really puzzling play. I think that he could have just stormed away with the victory there. Thankfully, whatever it was, it didn't happen. At that point, it screamed bulk up when he didn't click Volt Switch, because there's no reason not to click it otherwise. So that's something to keep in mind for later in the game as well. Maybe he was scared of more defensive Buzzwole and figured he'd have his openings. With that said, though, I get the roost up there. I'm super thankful for that. He goes Clef, that's fine. I go Heatran on a Thunder. Thank goodness, no paralysis despite him hitting. That means I'm going to get my rocks up, and seeing as Corviknight is dead, I get my rocks up, and they're up to stay. And since I don't have Defog, they're up to stay on both sides. Now, Pex comes in here, and it goes for knockoff into my Clefable, which means I can heal that up. So suddenly, I'm making some progress. I'm clawing myself back into the game at this point. And now, I noticed that my Heatran matchup isn't amazing right now. A, because my own Heatran's weakened, so it's in Earth Power range. B, Landorus T is nowhere near full health. I can't switch into anything. You can live in Earth Power because it's immune, but that's literally it. And because my Dragapult, I don't really want to switch it in, as I kind of like it in the late game if I get some status going. So I go Slowking here, and I'm like, okay, if he is Taunt, Magma Storm, especially defensive, I'm okay trading with it. And I know very well that if he hits a Magma Storm to switch, then it's going to be a trade, because it also means he's got a Magma Storm into the Heatran, which a really great play on his end. He knew I was going to switch. He got that right. So now it's a trade. It's a trade I'm actually okay with, though. I don't think Slowking's needed here. It would have been nice for Toxapex, but I can easily work my way around Toxic. It's a free Clefable every single time, and that's huge. So I Scald there. He's going to taunt there, but I'm just Scalding through it again. 31, and then I do 36 there. So I know for a fact 31% means he's max special defense Heatran, or like over 200 special defense EVs, which means my Buzzwole's always outrunning it. My Landorus T is always outrunning it. And after paralysis from Dragapult, potentially, my Clefable is always outrunning as well, which is cool. My Heatran's actually minus speed, though, because I got Heavy Slam for Clefable. So it's not great. But anyway, since I know my Buzzwole's quicker, I can go ahead and go to it there. And I click Close Combat into the Toxapex. And I notice right off the bat, this has to be a Shed Shell pack. His team doesn't switch into Heatran well either, which is worth noting. No leftovers, no Black Sludge, etc. Anyway, he goes Calm Mind. I knock off the Life Orb with my own Clefable, which is huge to mitigate damage output. He misses a Thunder there, helpful as I go for a Wish to heal my Heatran. Honestly, I'm going to take Paralysis eventually on the Heatran. It's just not a big deal. But dodging one there does mean I'm going to recover all the way up to full instead of like 80%, so that's always appreciated there. Now here, I actually revealed a Heavy Slam a little early. In hindsight, I kind of wanted just Earth Power, but it's fine. He knows I have it with Pex. But what's important here is that Heavy Slam only has 16 PP, and Clefable hasn't revealed a softball. So I kind of have to, get Moonblast on the switch or force Earth Power damage, maybe get some damage off with Dragon Bolt or force a paralysis. I've got to be crafty about making sure that I can waste the Clefable softball PP. As soon as the Clefable going to run out of softball PP, this game's wide open for me. But until then, he kind of has a win condition that's holding me hostage. So he's in a position where not only can bulk up Zero Aura, potentially win the game if he gets it in safely. But on top of that, Come On Clefable just outright wins my team if it outlasts Heatran. And it has enough soft-boiled PP, plus the prospect of paralyzing me, to where I can't 1v1 it if it gets a couple of breaks. And you're going to have a long time to get a couple of breaks, so the odds kind of stack up. This, coupled with the fact that Toxapex can back foot on my Buzzwells that like Earthquake, there's no Future Sight prospect because Slow King's gone. Overall, I definitely feel like I'm losing at this point. Maybe not as badly as when the Zero Aura got in before and he really outplayed me, but at this point, Alodin has definitely gotten an upper hand here. Really amazing early game on his end, and I definitely didn't prioritize my Pokemon well, particularly when it comes to the Landorus T. So, again, hindsight's hindsight, but not great. I wish there, and I just go hard Heatran. I'm okay wasting out Wish PP. I figured he might try and attack there. He didn't go for Thunder either, so that's pretty cool. And now I'm going to start noticing the trend of him just going Toxapex here, and I really want to go and get a burn on it. I didn't think it'd risk Cleft to the Lava Plume, and I get the burn on the Pex immediately. That, coupled with the lack of Black Sludge, is huge for me. But he's also noticing something that I can go Clef on the Pex every single time, so he doubles his own Clefable there, and that's a great play on his end. So now we're going to kind of get in this sequence, right, where we're just pivoting around. I'm trying to force some PP, get some leftovers. Earth Power into the Pex is always going to be helpful there, because Rocks plus Earth Power plus Burn means that a crit or a drop means that I'm going to get the 2 KO, and that could force a ton of pivoting and awkwardness on his end. So yeah, I'm okay fishing for that crit there, as he's never going to knock off and risk dying, so helpful for me for sure as I get Clef in on a forced recover. I also wasted 2 recovers there on his Pex, which again, it comes in handy there. I wish again the Heatran, despite being very healthy, I don't want to play any games there. He Moonblasts again. I'm surprised he's not going for Thunder, but he might want to conserve the Thunder PP a little bit, as he is going to need that to break my Heatran, even at like plus 4 or 5, honestly. Anyway, I Heavy Slam there into Toxapex, unfortunately. Go back to Clefable now. He knocks off. And now I'm noticing here, at this point in the game, it's getting kind of cyclical. So maybe I can start Moonblasting in the Clef. I don't know if I do it here. Actually, I just Wish again. I'm starting to realize that I'm wasting Wish PP a little liberally, though. So yeah, I think eventually I'm going to start Moonblasting in the Clefable. I'm sorry, I don't remember what turn it was. But at that point, the game's getting cyclical. And you could kind of try and claw onto what your opponent's doing, maybe conditioning them into expecting a certain line of play, and then forcing their hand given that. And you see here the Moonblast. Moonblast just 27, gets a drop. Not only does that mean he's doing less damage, but also that means I could go Heatran without even risking Wish. Look, I'm going to heal up leftovers, and then another leftovers. Rocks don't do anything, so this is important. I didn't let try and get knocked, which was huge. And you see there, look, Earth Power does 38, and this is a very physically defensive Toxapex, by the way. That means that another one, again, if I get a crit or a drop in the first run to a KO, then I'm forcing all sorts of madness. So yeah, that was great there. Now I go Clefable again, and look, I forced it another 2 recovers. Suddenly he's only at 12 recovers. That's great for me. He goes back to Clefable. Knock off here. Okay, not my best play. I kind of thought that maybe he'd go Heatran and the Moonblast, try and like get a sneaky live in and then go for a Heavy Slam of his own. Not my best play. I should have just clicked Moonblast, but no harm, no foul. 4%, still 4%. He goes for the Thunder there. I don't believe he paralyzed there. I'm appreciating that, but it doesn't really matter so long as it doesn't get fully parried a bunch of times in a row. Yeah, this time I Lava Plume thinking he might try and get cute and get Landorus T. There's a couple turns where I was experimenting with his sequencing, making a note that I'm not just glued to clicking the same move over and over again so he doesn't try and get cute. Keeping people honest is important. It does come at the waste of a few PP and a little bit of momentum, but that wasn't a big deal. Next time I get right back to it, Moonblast on the Clef, double switch to the Heatran. I potentially can force a recovery, but he goes for Thunder, and this time he gets the paralysis. So now we are in trouble. A little bit, but it's not the end of the world. We do get paralyzed there on Earth Power, but that's fine. At this point, I'm okay with that. I can get Clef back in, and I can just Wish up the Heatran. There's nothing he's really doing to punish my sequences, so it's no big deal. I'm surprised he hasn't tried getting the Zero Aura, and I feel like he's playing a little over-conservatively, maybe a bit tunnel vision. But also at this point, now he has less reason to use Thunders, which I guess is cool for me as Heatran's taking less damage. You see, Moonblast is not even doing leftovers amount. He goes back to Pex here again in Earth Power, but no big deal. He's just going to regenerate it off anyway. Now he doubles Landorus T here, as I think I went Clefable, correct, yeah. And now I'm going to burn a couple of soft boils here. Now that I knocked him off, thankfully he's not recovering each turn. So I'm just gonna heal up a little bit. I definitely want to put myself in a position where I can potentially get a Moonblast off on him. He U-turns here as he goes Heatran, and now at this point, I went softball here. Yup, that's fine. And now I don't have a switch in, so I think my play was just to click knockoff. He reveals the heavy slam here though. Yup, great play on his end, and that leaves me weakened. I've got to go Dragapult here. Dragapult wouldn't have killed after leftovers because Hex plus darts. So, yeah, and then U-turn always kills there after the knockoff damage. But he gets Flame Body there, which was like, whoa, it's Flame Body. That's wild for non-toxic Heatran because, like, he would lose to Quiver Dance, Fire Move plus Psychic, Volcarona, in theory then. I really was expecting him to be Flash Fire, but that burn wasn't great for me. But, like, also Dragapult isn't part of the game plan anymore. It's more there to maybe force a paralysis on a Pex. So, sorry, on a Clef, but I don't think he's even going to risk that. So, yeah. Wasn't great because like darts does less damage now, but it wasn't the end of the world either. So yeah, I go Buzzwole here, and I know he's gonna bait in the Clefable. That's fine with me. I just go right back to Heatran. Heatran doesn't risk anything, and so it's starting to become an issue for him. He gets a soft boiled off there, and that's important. That's now 2 soft boileds gone. Now he goes Pex here. I can just go ahead, fire off a Lava Plume. Again, trying to make sure he doesn't go Landers to keep him honest. I don't mind that it can regenerate it off now. Now he goes Clefable, and this time I call the Heavy Slam. Now it's important because he's been pivoting back and forth a ton, trying to catch on to my Clefable sequences and make it so that he can win with his Clefable before he runs out of softball PP, or put himself in a position where Clefable does enough damage to where suddenly Zeraora wins the game before it's too late. So I knew fully well if we kept going the trajectory I was making incremental progress, but ultimately I was wasting enough resources to where the long game favored him because I was behind before. Given that I had to catch him on a play trying to get a little bit of a sneaky advantage. Moreover, because of that, I knew Heavy Slam into Pex to hit Clef had to happen at some point. That was a big one there. 62% also revealed that he had some speed investment on this, so I could potentially keep doing those 65, 67% max damages, I believe, with Heavy Slam. See there, I do 60. I think it's like a 58 to 65 or 67. I don't know. Yeah, I do 59 there. So yeah, something like that. Point is, I'm just hoping not to get paralyzed there. Thankfully, I don't get paralyzed like 3 or 4 times in a row. Okay, maybe it was more defensive. I'm sorry, I'm misremembering, but yeah, I'm still doing a decent amount. 56, 57, 62. Either way, he goes Pex here, knowing if he takes another, it's great. He's gonna lose. But also, like, look at this. I'm now at 8 Heavy Slam PP. He's now at 10 soft boils. That's still 2 more soft boils I'm gonna have to burn, which is important. I can get Clefable in here on Toxic. Thankfully, he goes for the knock, trying to catch me getting greedy again. So again, a little conditioning games to where I put him in a position where it's definitely not safe for him to play around me. I go for Wish here, and the Wish might have seemed weird because I was so low, but Wish meant one of 2 things. One, if he goes to Clefable, then... Alright, so let's say... Here, let's go back turn. Please go back. Thank you. Okay. So Wish here means... I'm only at 17 minutes. Okay, not bad. Wish here means that if he goes Clefable and my Clefable to heal up, then he's got to choose between 1 of 2 things. Either 1, he clicks Soft Boiled and heals up, but then I get a Wish to Landers T's healthy, and then suddenly Bulk Up Zeraora can win. Or he clicks Moonblast and Landers T, he kills it, the Wish is wasted, but then he's still low at 6%, and I get my Dragapult in for free, and suddenly Hex looks amazing against his team. Zeraora would be forced to take damage, Landers T would get 2 KO'd, Toxpex might get 2 KO'd because it's physically defensive, and that's Hex, and then obviously Clefable at 6% would die. So it kind of put him in a, okay, I'm forcing something type of position. Except for the fact that he goes Landers T. But while him going Landers T punishes the Landers T line of play on my own, it means Buzzwole gets recovered up. Buzzwole being at full health suddenly makes it so much harder for Bulk Up Zeraora to sweep. So while it doesn't do me any immediate good in fighting the Clefable war, it also is something that ultimately I had to do. I had to get Buzzwole at some point and heal up before he got Zeraora. And I felt like maybe he'd eventually noticed that his passive sequences weren't really achieving the overarching goals that he wanted to in the short term, so he'd kind of like mix it up and get Zeraora in. Thankfully, none of that happened. I was fine because I wasn't really being super passive. I wasn't going like Dragapult at all. I was just keeping between Clefable, which shoots 3 KO with Moonblast, takes 2 Plasma Fists, and my Heatran, which can threaten with Earth Power and leaves even a +1 close combat from full health almost always. So thankfully I was keeping up the momentum, but ultimately that gave me a big safety blanket, which was huge in the long term. So I didn't mind that. And I know leaving Clefable weak isn't great, but you got to keep in mind there that Toxapex is something that is always going to invite in Clefable. And that's why Toxapex is pretty lackluster. It invites in Clefable, it invites in Slowbro and Slowking, Galarian Slowking, etc. All these Pokemon that just can't do crap to it. That it can't do crap to, and it heals up everything. You get free setup turns, etc. Now here, he tries to catch me on an Earthquake or an Overprediction. I just go Clefable. That Toxic's actually really good for me, as now I can't get paralyzed from Thunder in a Clefable War either. So I can fish for more Moonblasts without having to risk my Lifeline, my Wish Passer, potentially getting Parahacks, which is amazing there. So now suddenly I'm able to fire off even more Moonblast. He gets his Clefable in on a Soft Bud, which is a really great play on his end because I know he's quicker. And now, to make matters worse, he's going to scout for Thunder Wave here, or just scout for Shadow Ball, I guess, and go Toxic. So Toxic would have been too good for Shadow Ball. Yeah, he gets it on a Thunder Wave there. Great play on a Loden's end. I don't want to take a knockoff here, even though it wouldn't kill because he's burnt. So I go back to Clefable here. That's fine with me because this just gives me another loop to heal up. And since my Pult is Boots, it's still surviving, if you will. And anyway, he goes to his own Clefable there, and I can fish with Moonblast. I get a special attack drop there. He soft balls. I'm going to go for a Wish here. Now I'm going to get Heatran in. In hindsight, Moonblast might have been a little better there, but it's fine. While he gets a drop, it doesn't really matter. In hindsight, Wish PP here was at like 10, so it wasn't a big deal losing 1. At this point, I felt that was okay because look at his BP here. He only has 12 recovers here, and he has 8 softballs there, and quite frankly, the softballs is big because he's got less softballs than I do wishes, so Heatran's always going to be fine. She doesn't need a wish every single time. Now he's going to start going for Calm Mind, which is something that we actually had only seen once prior to this, which isn't a big deal. He thinks he can bait the heavy slam, but I'm not falling for that. He's never going to do damage to me at only +1. He needs like +3 or +4, so I'm okay with that here. He's going to go knock off there. Again, fine with me, not a big deal. Now he goes back to Clefable. I'm just going to wish. I'm going to stay true to my plan here. And now I'm going to wish to myself something I hadn't done before. Figuring he'd predict Heatran, maybe even go Landorus T or Zero Aura. I get the Moonblast off into him, though, which is fine. Forces another Softboil. I'm just going to keep going. He can't paralyze me. Force another one, and I get a drop there. Huge. He's got to go Calm Mind now all of a sudden just to break out of that. I get a wish off here, and I could heal up my Heatran no matter what he does to me. In hindsight, that wish was a bit wasteful, but not the end of the world. I negate any damage I took. I was playing with kind of a little bit of conservative here as I felt like I'd regained momentum, and he didn't seem like he was kind of sensing that Zero Aura lineup play. So it was good for me. Now here, Pex, and I don't even feel a need to call the Heavy Slam at this point. I just feel like it's kind of on a little bit of mid-game cruise control. I get Moonblast here. Nice damage. Force another softboiled. Suddenly he's only at 6 softboiled. 5 softboiled. See how quickly they're running out just because I'm keeping up the pressure? And that's a huge way to check Clefable that a lot of people don't notice. Now he's finally going for it. The Calm Mind in my face. He gets 1 on the paralysis, followed by another on the paralysis, followed by a Thunder into me for 39% on a Heavy Slam. And I'm like, thank goodness I hit through. Now we're talking. I need some more connections here. 39% Thunder is not something I'm comfortable with. But thankfully, I fire back with the 61% Heavy Slam. He's wasting his last recovery PP. And again, I'm avoiding paralysis. Thank goodness. 66% max damage there. That's what we were talking about before. And then finally, he's like, oh damn, I died in the next one again. I got to switch out. And that's fine. I get paralyzed on that turn, which is kind of funny because he could have healed up. But he only had 3 softboils. So at this point, even if I ran out of Heavy Slam PP, I might just be able to do the trick anyway. Especially because I have an Adamant Landorus T in the back, which basically forces you to use a Recover. Buzzwall can eventually you from about 27% with Adamant Ice Punch, so Adamant Close Combat, which is gonna potentially come in handy. Any damage is good damage, even forcing a Hex or Thunder Wave on with Dragapult. Yeah, so I have my options here. Once it gets down to like 1 or 2 softballs, there's really no way it can win the game ever, as long as I have all 5 Pokemon healthy, which right now I do. Well, okay, alive. Obviously, the Dragapult and Landorus aren't healthy. The core 3 healthy that I need to win the game is the point. Anyway, he goes back to Pex here in a para. Now he doubles the Clef on my Clef, but that's fine. He's healing up, but look, that's wasting 1. But all of a sudden, he just lost 28% of that 50%. He only healed up 22%. So now he's suddenly gonna have to waste even more. And now I get a wish back up to Heatran, and it's like that Thunder damage from before never happened because guess what? I'm all the way back at full again. Not even a special attack drop from Moonblast. Suddenly he's in a real bad position, and I'm gonna get more Heavy Slam again, no paralysis, and a high roll there, 64. Clutch, 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 clutch. He goes Pex on an Earth Power there. I did call that, but that's fine. Now he doubles Clef. Again, fine with me. I'm okay just Moonblasting in his face. I think Moonblast might have been better that time. I don't know if I was low on PP. No, yeah, I think I should have just Moonblast there, but that's fine. Now he goes back to Pex here. This time, I think it was on Earth Power as well. Yep. Again, it's just no point not Earth Powering because I don't need to waste Heavy Slam PP. And Earth Power does the same thing, basically, because Fable was never outlasting me when it's solo softball PP. So, we're in a good position here. Again, the same little chess game from before, just maneuvering in to get my Tran in the Fable. And thankfully, he goes back to Pex here. I think this time, I clicked Heavy Slam, actually, which is funny. It's like the one time he got it right on a paralysis. So that was good for me, that I got paralyzed, ironically enough. Now he doubles Slenderous T and Clefable. I'm fine with that. He Earthquakes. I softball just to see what he's trying to do here. And now I go to Buzzwole thinking, okay, I could use this as an opportunity to heal up. That's fine with me. He goes for Earthquake there. He goes Pex now. I think I just always Roost here. And that is what I do, right? So yeah, now Landorus T took another turn of Rocks for nothing there. Besides just wasting a couple Earthquake PP, wasting a Softball PP on my end. That's fine. I don't need that PP anyway. In all likelihood. So now all of a sudden Landorus T can only come in one more time. That's important to me. I go Clefable here now. He doubles Landorus T, and now okay, like you're kind of dead to rights. And he's probably trying to set up for his Zero Aura here, but again, no point not going Buzzwole. This time he clicks U-turn, which is important as it puts me into range for 2 Plasma Fists after Rocks. Great play on his end, but I can just go Heatran here. No big deal. Moonblast isn't even out damaging leftovers, so I can still maintain a threatening position against the Zero Aura if need be. He goes Calm Mind. That's fine with me. Heavy Slam, but I actually want this to not be killed by Heatran with -1 special attacks. So I go Dragon Pult there, and that's fine because now I can get the kill with my Buzzwole. Getting the kill with Buzzwole is huge here because I now don't have to risk Zero Aura potentially squeaking me. I go Ice Punch, he fires off Landorus T and goes Pex. Great play on his end. However, he goes Zero Aura there, and I predict him to go Zero Aura on the Clefable to try and get a bulk to my face. But I'm like, nah, bro, you ain't doing crap. I roost in his face, and at that point, that's kind of the exclamation point. Like, now I've definitely, like, surpassed him in positioning. Now I'm clearly ahead of the game. I have the Buzzwole healthy. I'm in a good spot. I just go for a close combat into the Toxapex. It doesn't matter. I didn't want a Zero Aura to maybe get cute on my double switch. No point. Now I go Clefable here, and he goes Zero Aura, and I'm like, okay. The thing is, so long as I keep Clefable alive, I can 100% beat Toxapex with wishes and whatnot. So Moonblast there is huge. He goes Plasma Fist. As long as I don't get crit here, I'm fine. Even then, a crit actually would not have killed there, which is cool. Now he's down at 19%. That's amazing for me. I go Landorus T here. Worst case, he just bulks up again, gets a +1 attack. But he doesn't even do that. He Plasma Fists. So I'm actually chilling there at 1%. And now I go Buzzwole. I'm like, okay, as long as you don't crit, I'm good. And he Drain Punches to kill me. Yeah, he wasn't going to Plasma Fist anyway, so I wasn't even risking a crit. I'm like, great. He goes Pex there. I just Leech Life just to heal up while also forcing damage on the Zero Aura. That's fine. Now I go Clef here. He doubles his Zero Aura, knowing I'm in Plasma Fist range. Great play on his end. Now I just fought off Landorus T because this means I could heal up Buzzwole to full. That's fine. We're getting into a little bit of mind game territory though. I can potentially get owned by like repeated double switches taking rocks on Buzzwole, so I gotta be careful at this point. Because I keep going Clef, but he goes Zero Aura. I can't risk keeping Buzzwole in against the Toxic from the Toxapex always, because then Plasma Fist damage starts getting out of hand. Because, see, Plasma Fist plus Stealth Rocks, it's doing almost half. It's 32 plus 12.5, which is 45. So I got to recover each time. And Plasma Fist is more PP than Roost. So if I get this wrong every single time, I have to Roost. Or he gets, like, crit plus roll, I'm actually can lose the game. But he Drain Punch there, which is helpful for me. It did let him heal up a little BP, but that doesn't really do crap for him. I Leech Life that time, just to kind of counteract that and not waste a Roost BP. Fine with me again. Now I go back to Clefable here. He goes back to Zero Aura. I'm like, oh damn. I go Buzzwole here. Again, this is the point where if he gets a crit on either of the two, I'm toast. No crit there, thankfully. And this time he goes Drain Punch again, which I think he should be fishing for the crit always, but I'll take it. Roost there. And again, now that I'm at 86, I'm not going to waste another Roost. I'm only at 10 Roost. I'm going to go for the Leech Life here. 17%. It heals up another 6%, which means I'm always out of range of 2 Plasma Fists after rocks. And I think it's even a roll if he crits. Again, Zero Aura on the Clef. Great plays by Loden, but he's going to Plasma Fist here. And again, it's not going to kill. As you see, it leaves me at 48. So roll after a crit. But he goes Drain Punch. Again, I really think he should be going for the crits, even if they require high rolls. Roost there brings me to 90. I'm gaining health out of this sequence. Bulk Up Drain Punch is a cool set, but I don't think it's really helping him a lot here. Now I'm at 97, so he'd probably need a high roll crit plus high roll Plasma to even kill after rocks down. But he gets it right. So I'm like, okay, damn. Buzzwole here again. And he's just making, all the plays he needs to give him any chance. But it only does 29 that time. He Drain Punches here. I Roost again. No point. And now, eventually, I got to call him with Leech Life, though. Because I'm still bleeding out of my Roost PP. I've got 8. And he still has a whole 17 Plasma Fist. And that's not great. So I Leech Life there. This time around, I decided, okay, I'm going to call it. I don't think he's going to Toxic. And I get the switch right. I get the attack boost there Toxapex can come in here all he wants, but the game's basically over. He can never win. I'm always going to heal up my Clefable, but he goes to his own Clefable. That's fine, though, because Heatran can come in here, and he can't break Heatran. He only has, he has no soft up PP. He can Calm Mind up all he wants, but eventually I'm going to get an attack off. He can go Toxapex, that's fine and all, but while I get paralyzed, all he can do is just, he can keep doubling, but eventually I'm going to, get his position right. And he knocks off there trying to catch my, staying in to catch the Clef, but I didn't get that greedy. At this point, I actually just softballed up. It's fine with me. Now I'm living any hit. He Moonblast there just to try and take me out, but even with the critical hit, not going to do the trick. I take out the Clefable there, and he goes Toxapex. I can softball it up here, then pass Infinite Wishes to Heatran, eventually stall out the remaining 12 recover PP, and even if he knocks me out, same thing, Buzzwole can stall some PPV out. I can just switch around, keep passing wishes. I still have 6 wishes, so there's no way I'll have enough recovered PP, especially since he's taking burn each turn. And he forfeits. Honestly, the game probably would have went 200, 220 turns had we stayed. But I always won that game 3-0. So yeah, loading forfeits, it's going to be a good game. Checkmate. So I get the nice big 2-1 World Cup. Let's go. Super pumped up for that. Was super fun playing all 3 of these guys as well. This was a super tense game. A lot of crazy plays. The Roost into the Pex with the Buzzwole to catch the Zeraora was huge. The Heavy Slam into the Pex to catch the Clefable was huge. But Loden made a lot of ballsy plays early on that worked out as well. Maintaining that momentum as I alluded to before. Overall, a good game. I don't think he took the most advantage of his Zeraora early on, which probably cost him. But thankfully, I was able to play my way out of a sticky situation that I put myself in. So really proud of myself for coming back in that game, but not super proud of the early game. Let me know what you think. How about the teams? How about the game? It's really cool seeing 2 teams that, have a lot of offensive options, kind of duke it out in the long haul. Really careful, meticulously planned play here, because that's always fun. I know a lot of you guys aren't fans of longer games, but you can't say this was stall either. Yes, there was some PP elements of the game, but that's also part of it. The reason why moves are balanced in a sense because they have so little PP if they're so strong. That's part of checking in Pokemon. And if you don't like that, then I'm sorry, but neither of these teams were stall teams. It's pretty obvious. I mean, I didn't admit Buzzwole, a Swords Dance Landorus T, a Landorus, a Heatran with special attack investment, a Dragapult, and Future Sight plus Teleport to really stimulate offensive counterplay. He had a Clefable with Life Orb. He had a Bulk Up Zero as a win condition, and he had a Heatran with some special attack investment as well. It goes without saying, this is a pretty balanced game here. So yeah, very fun. Hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and if you want to see more World Cup content, let me know you want that in the comments down below, because I'm always reading, son. All right, peace out. Have a great day, guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye.